They're not smiling because they like you. They're smiling because they've scanned you and decided you're easy to control. Manipulators don't care about your strengths. They search for your emotional weaknesses, your need to explain, to be liked, to stay polite when you should walk away. And the second they sense hesitation, they pounce. This isn't a world of fair fights. It's psychological warfare. Silent, subtle, strategic. Behind friendly eyes lie traps you don't see until it's too late. But what if you could flip the script? What if, instead of being the prey, you became the one who sees through the game? This isn't just a video. It's a manual for mental combat. And the first rule? Stop reacting and start calculating. Machiavelli didn't write about swords and shields. He wrote about manipulation, strategy, and power. How real wars are won in conversation, in silence, in reading people faster than they can read you. In this video, you'll learn 10 tactics to outsmart manipulators. Not by fighting harder, but by thinking colder. These tactics are subtle, invisible, but once you master them, you become someone who can't be played. You'll learn how to weaponize silence, how to mirror without giving yourself away, and how to flip their pressure tactics right back onto them. This is not about becoming heartless. It's about becoming unbreakable. Because if you want peace in a world full of psychological predators, you need power. The quiet kind. The kind no one sees coming. The kind that can dismantle manipulation before it even begins. Let's start with the most powerful tactic of all. The one that makes them underestimate you. The most powerful position in any game, the one where your opponent doesn't even realize they're playing against you. That's what happens when you play dumb on purpose. It disarms manipulators, makes them drop their guard. They think you're naive, soft, easily led. And that illusion becomes your weapon. Because while they're talking circles around you, feeding you half-truths and baiting traps, you're silently watching, calculating, taking mental notes on every pattern, every insecurity, every tell. When you appear harmless, people expose themselves. They say more than they should. They show you the hand they're trying to hide. Machiavelli knew this. When you're underestimated, you're free. You can strike without warning. You can exit without confrontation. You can pull strings from the shadows. So don't rush to prove your intelligence. Don't correct every false claim. Sometimes, the smartest thing you can do is act like you don't know. Because while they're playing checkers with your ego, you're playing chess with their intentions. And by the time they realize the board was tilted in your favor, it's already checkmate. Manipulators want control, but control requires predictability. They talk, you react. They provoke, you explain. That's how they win. But when you start asking questions, genuine, calm, probing questions, you flip the power dynamic instantly. Questions force them to reveal their intent. They break the rhythm of manipulation. Instead of defending yourself when someone challenges you, ask, "Why do you say that?" Or, "What makes you ask?" These questions create space. Space equals power. You're no longer inside their frame. You're outside, observing. It throws them off balance because now they have to justify themselves. Most manipulators aren't prepared for that. Their entire strategy depends on you taking the bait, not turning the spotlight back on them. Ask questions not to understand them, but to expose them. Ask slowly. Ask quietly. Let the silence that follows do the work. The longer they speak, the more they reveal. And the less you say, the more control you maintain. When you ask the right questions, you don't just protect yourself. You make them uncomfortable in their own game. And discomfort leads to cracks. Cracks lead to exposure. And exposure, that's the beginning of your dominance. Desire is leverage. The moment someone knows what you want, they can shape your behavior. Manipulators are masters at this. They watch for your enthusiasm, your goals, your emotional investment, and then they use it. They offer what you want, delay it, distort it, or threaten to take it away. It's how they hook you, with your own desires. That's why the most powerful people appear neutral. You never fully know what they want, not because they don't want anything, but because they never let it show. This isn't deception, it's strategy. The less you reveal, the less control others have over you. Keep your ambitions private, your preferences vague, your reactions measured. If someone offers something you want, pause, smile, say, "That's interesting," and shift the topic. Let them wonder. When they push to find out what motivates you, give a foggy answer or redirect the conversation. The more uncertainty you create, the more control you gain. Machiavelli believed that power lies in unpredictability. When others don't know your destination, they can't block your path. They can't use your dreams against you. So guard your desires like secrets, because in a world of manipulation, the person who appears to want nothing controls everything. In every conversation, someone sets the frame, the underlying narrative that dictates the meaning of what's being said. Manipulators love setting the frame because it gives them invisible power. They'll frame their insults as jokes, frame pressure as urgency, frame your calmness as guilt. And if you accept their frame, you play their game. But when you control the frame, everything shifts. If they say, "Why are you so quiet? Do you feel guilty?" You respond, "I speak when it matters." Now you're not defending, you're reframing. They say, "You're being difficult." And you calmly reply, "No, I'm being clear." You reject their story and replace it with your own. Reframing isn't about arguing louder. It's about anchoring deeper. You hold the emotional ground of the conversation. Stay calm, centered, and direct. Let your tone be steady, your words few, your presence unmoved. When you master the frame, they can't pull you into confusion. They can't distort the truth. They can't drag you into the role they want you to play. You're not defensive. You're declarative. You don't accept the story. You rewrite it. Because the one who defines the narrative defines the reality. Scarcity creates value. It always has. It always will. Manipulators rely on your abundance of attention, of availability, of emotional energy. They thrive when you over-explain, over-give, overstay. That tells them you're easy to access and easy to control. But when you become scarce, when your time, words, and presence are limited, you flip the dynamic. You stop responding instantly. You speak less. You show up less. And when you do show up, you carry quiet weight. Now they're uncertain. They don't know where they stand with you. That uncertainty becomes your leverage. People chase what retreats. They undervalue what's always available. Scarcity isn't about playing games. It's about positioning. You're not punishing them. You're training them to treat you with respect. Your silence becomes a test. Your absence becomes a boundary. And your limited access becomes a signal. The key is consistency. Don't waver once they start chasing. Stay centered. Be calm. The more disciplined you are with your energy, the more powerful your presence becomes. In a world that rewards the loud, the always-on, the endlessly available, being scarce isn't weakness. It's dominance in disguise. Manipulators depend on patterns. They observe how you respond, how you apologize, how you explain, and they create a playbook around it. Predictability is their playground. That's why the most dangerous person to manipulate is the one who appears predictable, but isn't. When you follow your usual behavior, you create expectations. When you suddenly break that pattern without warning, you create psychological whiplash. And that throws manipulators completely off balance. Today you respond. Tomorrow you vanish. Today you're polite. Tomorrow you're icy calm. Not emotional, not erratic, just unreadable. Machiavelli believed that true power isn't about brute strength. It's about controlling perception. When people can't anticipate you, they can't control you. And when they can't control you, they fear you. So don't announce your boundaries. Enforce them suddenly. Don't signal your distance. Create it silently. If they expect a reaction, give them indifference. If they expect silence, drop precision. Controlled unpredictability makes them cautious. They hesitate, they doubt. And that hesitation, that's your power. This tactic isn't about chaos. It's about calculation. Stay calm, stay centered, but change your moves, because the more they try to read you, the more lost they'll become. Manipulators speak in riddles, flattery, and vague concern. But behind every word is a motive, and that's what you mirror. Not the sentence, but the strategy behind it. They compliment you. What do they want? Validation? Access? Influence? Instead of responding with flattery, reflect their intent. Stay calm. Maintain eye contact. If they flatter, smile politely, but don't give energy. If they fish for information, respond with a question. If they escalate, lower your intensity. If they act overly nice, mirror the tone, but colder. You're showing them their own game, and it unnerves them. This isn't emotional mimicry. It's strategic reflection. You become their mirror, but cleaner, calmer, sharper. They joke at your expense, respond with silence. They act like a victim, ask them directly, "What are you hoping will happen here?" Most won't know how to respond, because they've never seen their own tactics reflected with such precision. This tactic drains their power without direct conflict. Because you're not arguing, you're not defending, you're simply holding up a mirror so they can see themselves, and manipulators hate that. They don't want awareness, they want reaction. You give them neither, and in that calm reflection, they lose traction. They become exposed, and you stay in control. Manipulators don't want resolution. They want control. And the easiest way to gain control? Drag you into an argument. Because the moment you argue, you're already off balance. You're reacting, defending, explaining. You're in their frame, and that's exactly where they want you. So don't argue. Redirect. When someone tries to provoke you, especially subtly, don't rise to the bait. If they say, "You always overreact," don't say, "No, I don't." Say, "Interesting. Why do you think that?" You shift the focus away from yourself and onto them. Now they're the one who has to explain. And just like that, you're no longer on trial. They are. This tactic works because it interrupts the emotional momentum. Instead of feeding the fire, you smother it with calm curiosity. You don't escalate. You pivot. You stay calm. The manipulator expects emotion. You give them logic. They want noise. You give them silence. They want a fight. You offer a question. This isn't weakness. It's redirection. Like a martial artist who lets the opponent's force collapse under its own weight. You're not avoiding the blow. You're neutralizing it. Because arguing with a manipulator is like wrestling in quicksand. The more you struggle, the deeper you sink. But when you redirect, you stay standing, clean, clear, untouched. Flattery isn't always a compliment. In the hands of a manipulator, it's bait. And the moment you bite, seeking more of it, you give them control. Because now they know what you crave: approval, validation, praise. That craving is the hook, and they'll use it to reel you in, tighten the leash, and lead you wherever they want. But here's the truth. Sincere people compliment you and move on. Manipulators flatter you. And watch, they're measuring your reaction. Do you light up? Do you get comfortable? Do you open up more? Because the moment you do, they shift gears. They know they've found the lever to move you. So what do? Recognize the flattery, but don't absorb it. Respond with neutrality. A slight nod, a polite "thank you," followed by silence or a redirect. Keep your expression steady, your energy unchanged. When you don't chase the sugar, they realize it has no effect. Better yet, when someone flatters you, ask yourself, what do they want from me right now? Because flattery always has an agenda. The sooner you spot it, the sooner you can sidestep the trap. Real power isn't found in praise. It's found in indifference to it. And the one who doesn't need flattery can't be led by it. In a world full of honey-coated manipulation, your ability to remain unmoved is the sharpest blade in your arsenal. Instant reactions are a manipulator's dream, because if you respond quickly, you're not thinking, you're feeling. And feelings are easy to exploit. That's why delayed responses are one of the most underrated power moves in psychological warfare. When someone pressures you for a decision, answer slowly. When they provoke, pause. When they demand an explanation, breathe. Silence unsettles manipulators. It creates uncertainty. And uncertainty is your leverage. They'll start filling the silence, revealing more, over-explaining, or exposing their agenda. Delaying your response doesn't mean avoiding the issue. It means owning your tempo. You're not dancing to their beat. You set your own. Whether it's a text, a question, or a confrontation, your pause becomes a boundary. It says, I don't rush for approval. I don't chase comfort. I move when I'm ready. This isn't passive aggressiveness, it's strategic detachment. A moment of pause gives you time to assess. What do they want? What's their frame? What's the best move? Most people are so reactive. They give away all their power in the first 5 seconds. But when you delay, you remain unreadable. And the unreadable person is untouchable. In a fast-moving world, stillness is strength. Let your silence speak. Let your pauses create tension. Because when you no longer feel the need to respond immediately, you've already won. If you've made it this far, you're not like most people. Most people get played. You're learning how to play the game. These tactics aren't tricks. They're shields and swords in a world that rarely shows its true face. But power isn't just knowing these moves. It's practicing them until they become who you are. If this video opened your eyes, imagine what's coming next. This channel isn't about motivation. It's about weaponized awareness. Every tactic, every frame, every word here is designed to make you sharper, colder, clearer. So if you're done being manipulated and ready to outthink anyone who tries, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, because what you've learned today, it's just the beginning. The game isn't over. It's only getting smarter.